Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the dude manning the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about a new physical media release. It's one I just found out about, but I absolutely had to have it when I found out about it. It is Steel Dawn, starring Patrick Swayze. It was directed by Lance Hool. This movie is kind of a cult favorite. It's a little more niche. I used to watch it when I lived in the South Carolina, on the border of North Carolina near Gastonia, and it came on the channel there, WJZY, which used to run a lot of old cult movies and a lot of great stuff, and I first discovered this movie there, and I've loved it ever since. It used to run on HBO a lot. It was a kind of a cult favorite. Didn't really do much in the theater, but it took off later. A lot of Patrick Swayze's movies did that, with the exception of Ghost and Dirty Dancing and Point Break, but the rest of his kind of just took off later. Anyway, there is a DVD, an old one, that was bare bones. It looked like it was scanned off a VHS that had been watched a million times at the rental store. I mean, it looked terrible. I had it because it was a physical copy that was available, but I was really excited when I heard about this. So I didn't watch the whole movie yesterday, but I watched some scenes to hear the sound and to look at the picture and all that stuff. And this is a considerable improvement. The desert setting, for the post-apocalyptic story that they're telling here, looks a million times better. Everything here, is much better. Even the night scenes are much clearer here. And without, doing that over glossing we talk about on remastering. They didn't do that here. It still looks very natural. There's still grain here because this movie wasn't a massive budget thing, so it still has a natural look, but at least it's a good cinematic experience now. Whereas the other one, even the DVD, you're like, this thing's fuzzy as hell. I've seen VHS with like THX that looks better than that. So this is, a definite must-have if this is a favorite of yours. Vestron Video, who I'd never heard of, released this, so kudos to them because they did an amazing job. There's also some special features. Unfortunately, obviously, you can't talk to Patrick Swayze, so God rest his soul. But there's commentary with director Lance Hool. I watched a little bit of special feature. They talked to the DP, George Turrell. He had some interesting things to say about the movie, about the desert setting and the challenges of that shoot, and how Patrick Swayze was, and choreographing the fight scenes, because it has a lot of fight scenes in it. So I haven't watched the other things yet, but there is an archival featurette, from back in the day, and they did, so you get the making of what there. I haven't watched that yet, but I'll take a look at it for sure. But there's a lot of cool stuff here, and has a slip cover. The artwork's the same, and here is the disc. But the movie is about Patrick Swayze plays a nameless character. They just call him Nomad, and he's kind of a strong silent type. And there's this Third World War that just wipes everything out, and he's just trying to survive out in the wastelands. And he meets up with his mentor and teacher, played by John Fujiyaka, who was a Japanese actor. He was the teacher in American Ninja and a lot of martial arts movies. If you had a teacher, he's the one that played it. So he was in there, and he gets killed early on by this guy named Sho, played by Christopher Neame, who's like this mercenary for hire. He's an old school warrior. So, he's going after him. Him and Nomad, it's kind of set up that they're going to clash because they're both strong warriors. But anyway, he goes to this town, and this guy, played Damnil, is kind of the warlord in that area, and he controls the town, and he has water. Water is their valuable resource. And so, he who controls the water controls the land. And he's starting to run a little bit low, and he knows there's some water around there. But Nomad travels along after his mentor and teacher is killed, and he just needs some water, and he meets a woman named Kasha, who has a little settlement and, a little farm, and she has a little boy. Her husband was killed in the war. And Kasha is played by Patrick Swayze's wife, Lisa Niemi. So, the real life couple is here. And she's a great character. She put together a little farm, and, they're doing pretty well. And it turns out that she has water. Lots of it, has an irrigation system, but she hides it from everybody, but she confides in Nomad, tells him about it. And he becomes kind of a protector for that area because Damnil is running out of water and he is getting desperate. And the Nomad Warrior, is preventing him, from muscling people around because, he takes up for the people. So that inevitably has him hire Show to bring him in for the clash. But this movie is kind of a take on Shane, an old Western. It has that same kind of story and feel to it. But, it became a cult favorite. Like I said, I watched it on WJZY and really liked it. And I just found out about this release, so I ordered it immediately. And it's absolutely great. So if you're a collector of an old cult movie or something, I really recommend picking this up. It's great. So I intend, after I get done watching all my horror movies for Halloween and stuff, I'm going to sit down and really dive into it. But I wanted to talk about this now because if you're a collector, like I said, really get this. One of Patrick Swayze's lesser known movies, but it's one of his best. And he was always good at fight scenes and stuff. And they talk about that, he was always real good with that stuff. So there's some cool fights and stuff. And it's pretty cool overall. It's a cult movie. Like if you like Beastmaster, stuff like that, I think this would fall in line with that. So, let me know in the comments if you plan on picking this up. Did you watch it on TV back in the day? And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like movies that fell under the radar, like this, be sure to follow me because I talk about this stuff all the time because I absolutely love it. So anyway, I'm going to make a compilation video later tonight because there's just so many horror movies to talk about, so I can't get them, so I'm going to do it in one big video. But anyway, I wanted to cover this too as soon as possible because it just needs to be talked about. So anyway, thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.